to another episode of People of Entertainment. I'm your host, Cherri Valentine, and today is a very, very special and important episode. I am speaking to an author today of a very special book, Miss Missy Cuevas Owens. How are you today?
I'm just fine. How are you, Cherri?
Oh, I'm doing very good. Well, tell me a little bit. I know this story is a true story and it's about something that happened to you. So, and it's a very important story that people need to know about, and I'm hoping with the help of this maybe we can get this into a movie and get some laws changed, but I'm going to
Yeah,
let you yes, I'm going to let you talk about it. So, tell me about this.
okay. I am a child abuse survivor. I grew up in very tumultuous situation. We were both parents were drug addicts. They were very abusive. I experienced pretty much all forms of abuse, sexual abuse, spiritual abuse even. My mother was in a very odd cult that had me very confused. But it was a very violent household, and I turned to drugs and alcohol when I was very, very young. I stayed in school. I failed a few grades because I was, barely hanging on as a teenager. It was rough. We were very, very poor. And I think the poverty probably affected me as much as the violence did. We didn't have, we didn't have shampoo most of the time. We didn't have running water. We didn't have toothbrushes that were assigned to us. There was 5 kids. So deodorant was a luxury. We didn't have things like that. We shared underwear. I mean, we were just very poor. So there was always a sense of abnormality with me. I knew we were different. So I was kind of depressed and anxious, and I was just a ball of emotions. But I ended up at the right school at the right time with some really amazing educators. I got pregnant when I was 17. I got pregnant when I was 17, and I was, I think, a ninth grader. I have a LD, so I had been in all learning disabled classes my whole way through high school and junior high. The year that I was supposed to graduate was the year that they implemented the exit exam. So you have to understand, for LD kids, we don't learn the way traditional children learn. We don't get all that extra, algebra, things like that, but we had to pass the same test that everybody else passed. Well, right around the time when I got pregnant, we got a new LD teacher. And she's my Ann Sullivan, basically. I was Helen Keller and she was Ann Sullivan, but I was snarky. I was not very well behaved. I had went off on most of my teachers on a regular basis. I was always getting suspended from school. So when she came, she was real tough, and I wasn't going to have it. I controlled that classroom. So we butt heads a lot at first. And she just basically pounded me into submission. Like, I don't know. She ended up just breaking through somehow. And she turned into my mother and my advocate and my teacher and she was the instrument that got me to where I am today, basically. So I finally finished high school. I was married for about 5 years while I was in high school. I got out of that marriage. I had 3 children. So at this point in time, I knew I had to go to school because I knew I couldn't raise these 3 kids by myself without an education. So I went back to my teacher and I told her I need to go to college. I didn't know what we were going to have to do because I was so far behind, but we did. I got into college. And while I was there, I maintained a 4.0 the whole way through. it was because I was passionate about what I was learning, and I was hungry for the knowledge. So I still had the learning disability, but somewhere or another, I just shined in school. Okay, so now let's fast forward. I'm about 35 years old now, have a lucrative career. My children are in high school, and I decided it's time to write my book. So it took about 3 years to write, from the beginning of it till about the third, and then it took 2 months to finish it. I took off some time from work and I finished it, and it got published. Um, it was just a local success. It didn't really do, I'm not a best-selling author or anything like that. But the book was about child abuse. The book was about my young life, and it was basically, throughout the book, there's letters that Melissa writes to Missy, the child, and I'm just kind of guiding her. So I initially wrote a book to heal myself, but when it got printed and it got out there, I noticed it was helping other people. And teenagers were coming up to me and they were like, I read your book and it changed my life. And that, everybody says if you could just help one, that it's all worth it. And, you really don't believe it until you see it firsthand. And that's true. The first time a girl came up to me and told me it changed her life, I was like, it was worth it, because I did lose a lot during the book process. My entire family disowned me after the book because they did not want the story to come out. I took their right to privacy away. So I did lose a lot during the book, but I had started to volunteer with CASA around the time that the book come out. CASA stands for Court Appointed Special Advocates. What we do is, when DHR gets involved with the family and they remove the children from the home due to abuse, the court will pick a CASA advocate to stand up in court and represent that child. So we go out, we do initial investigations, we talk to the children, talk to the doctors, the teachers, whoever we need to talk to, the parents. And when we go to court, we represent the child, we discuss our findings, and we offer resources. We discuss where we think the family needs help and the children need help. So I fell in love with this organization because it was, it's child abuse prevention, and they're all about children, and they're nonprofit. So I have a passion for CASA, and I have a passion for child abuse prevention. So, that's my story.
So where can people find CASA locally?
CASA is at the One Mobile Plaza in downtown Florence. I'm gonna Google their phone number real quick. I should have had this for you guys already. But they're in Florence, and it used to be just Lauderdale County CASA. It is now Shoals CASA. So it's Colbert County and Lauderdale County combined.
Okay.
And I'm looking up the number now.
That's okay.
And they always need volunteers. They do extensive training, so you don't have to worry about going out on the field and not knowing what you're doing. Okay, I just got the phone number.
Okay.
It's 256-765-0041. Right. And the director's name is Heather Flip, and you can tell them that Missy sent you. But basically, you'll go through a course. When I went, it lasts about 6 to 8 weeks. I don't know what it looks like now. I think they do it online now. It doesn't take much. It's a couple of nights a week, but it basically trains you on how to go out in the field, how to do your investigations, trains you all about what you need to know when you're dealing with, families from abuse, generational abuse, and things like that. So they really train you very extensively. It's a volunteer position, so you don't get paid anything, but it is you get paid in other ways. It's worth it. It really is, because you get to help and you get to see growth and change.
So guys, if you're out there, there's where you can volunteer to help, or if you need help, there's where you can go. Yeah, and there
have fundraisers.
Right.
Because it's a nonprofit agency, we have to do fundraisers, and we have to, ask for donations, because we can't run without them. So if anybody wants to donate or be an advocate, give them a call and they'll tell you all about it, and you can decide if it's right for you.
And I did hear that you're having a walk. Is it a march for survivors?
Yes. So I am planning. Initially, I thought we were going to be able to do it this year. April is Child Abuse Awareness Month, so I really wanted to do it in April. I don't think we're going to get it done this year because it's going to be so big. We got to get the Kramer Center involved. CASA is going to be involved. There's going to be several nonprofit agencies involved, and I've still got to find some reps in these bigger cities. We first originally thought that we would do it throughout the whole country. Get somebody from each state to represent their state, to put their march on in their state. But I think I got ahead of myself, and I think that it was a little too big. So I thought what we would do, narrow it down a little bit, start in Alabama, do the march in the bigger cities in Alabama, and then go from there. Maybe, in a year or so, we can get bigger and bigger as we go. But basically, we want to bring awareness to child abuse, and we also want to entice these politicians to get passionate about changing the laws pertaining to child abuse.
Okay, so what are the laws currently?
Well, we're way too lenient on child abuse is a huge, broad spectrum word that covers a lot. The main abuse that I work with, that is my specialty, that I'm most passionate about, is sexual abuse. So that's what I want to bring awareness on, because it's so prevalent and we don't talk about it. And I don't know why, but God gifted me with candor. So I talk for people who can't talk. And the march is going to be to bring about awareness and to try to get politicians on board to see that, especially with sexual abuse, there are forms of child molestation that is just merely a misdemeanor. We've got to change that. I want to implement Missys Laws, which would change that, make that a mandatory felony. Anytime any molester harms a child, it should be a felony, no questions asked, because, and we should give long sentences, because the crime should fit, the punishment should fit the crime. Yes. When a molester harms a child, that child serves a life sentence of being different and not feeling completely whole and normal. And it does damage that it's a really difficult thing to discuss, but we need to change the laws. We need to make it tougher for these animals to get out and harm children.
Right. And you're a big part of that, and we want to thank you for your book. Now, what was the name of the book again?
The book is called Redemption, Missy's Story. I have a copy. I'll show you.
Okay. And I have one I'm going to put up for us too.
A lot of people have the copy. A lot of people in CASA have the copy. But it's really hard to get now. It's out of print. And I'm at a crossroads with it. I don't know yet if I'm going to revive it or just start with a new book yet. I'm not sure. I was real active and doing a lot of different things, writing constantly, advocating all the time. And I ended up getting sick. And it took a long time to find out what was wrong with me. But when they did, it turned out to be a rare immune disease. And I have to go to the cancer center every 4 weeks to get treatments. I'm healthy as a horse now, as long as I get my treatments every 4 weeks.
That's good.
Um, but it really kind of knocked me for a loop, and I'm still recovering from being down for so long. And it I'm noticing that I used to be able to take on these bigger projects, but now I fatigue easier. So I'm having to ease into some of these projects.
Goodness. Well,
Plus, we're getting older.
yes. So what advice would you have for someone who's been through this? I know, we have the CASA and your book. So, what words of inspiration do you have for these people who have been through this, who are probably listening to this right now?
Um, the the most important thing to say, and it's what everybody says, and it sounds cliche, but it's when you're dealing with this, it's really important. You are not alone. There is a esoteric nature to child abuse that all survivors kind of speak the same language. When it comes to it, we have the same mannerisms, the same mindset. It's really hard to explain, but when I say you're not alone, I mean the things that you go through in your quiet time at night, all that self-doubt and that feeling of not being normal. It's normal to feel abnormal sometimes, and you are okay. I used to say that I'm a child abuse survivor, and I've stayed away from saying that so much because I've started to see you never survive from it completely. You're only surviving. So I'm just an active survivor on an ongoing daily basis. And that's what I would say to everybody else who has felt the sting of child abuse, that all those feelings, we have all felt them. We've all felt them. And you're okay, even if you're not okay right now. Hang on till tomorrow, because everything turns around and you'll find your normal again. So hang in there.
And I know that you had said that you are a great inspiration to many people. Whenever you speak, a lot of people, as you had said, find inspiration in the words that you say. So I want to thank you for putting this out there and for contacting me so we can get this out there more for people. So on the CASA, do they have a Facebook or anything like that?
Yeah, CASA does have a Facebook. It's CASA of the Shoals.
Okay.
And I have, you can find me on Missy Cuevas. That's my name on Facebook. I do have a Melissa Speaks speaking page. I also have a book page, Redemption Missy Story. But it's the best way to, if you have any questions or if you need to contact me for a speaking engagement or anything like that, is to just go to my regular Facebook and send me a message, the way that we communicate. Because I check it a lot more.
Okay. And guys, it's going to be up on my page. I think CASA is going to be sharing this. And I'm going to try to see what I can do to just get this out there as much as we can. And any of you in the entertainment industry, if you think this is a good story and you want to help, please contact, CASA, contact my page, contact Missy, and we are going to try to do whatever we can to get those laws changed. Is there anything else that you'd like to say?
No, you're beautiful. And I love that you have your show. Thank you so much for having me on.
Thank you, Missy. I hope that by putting this out there, we can get those laws changed for everyone. And like she said, know that you are not alone. You know, time is limited. Don't waste time on anybody else's dreams. Go for your own dreams and know that you're not alone. And if you need someone out there, we are all here for you. And
Oh, yeah.
yes,
I'm always available if somebody just wants to get things off their chest. I have that a lot. I was a life coach for a long time. So anytime anybody just needs to talk about it or just get things off their, I'm available for that.
yes. All right. And like I said, we will be sharing this for everybody. We're going to try to get this out there. So thank you for coming to see me today. And we will do a follow-up as soon as we get those laws changed. All right.
Thanks, Sherry.
Thank you. Have a good day. Bye.
Okay, bye.
All right. Bye, guys. And like I said before, chase your own dreams. Don't give up. Don't ever give up on anything. So have a good day and come back and see me next time, guys. Bye-bye.